Ready? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting for Tuesday, January 22nd, 2013. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And in accordance with Mass General Law 30A, small s, 20E, I want to report that the Board of Selectmen is taping this meeting, and also LCAT is taping the meeting, and I have to ask if anyone else is taping this meeting. Noted that Chris from the Reminder is also. Our first appointment at 6 o'clock is Pride Convenience. Hello again.
Good evening, Mr.
How are you?
Chairman. Nice to see you again.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
And you are here for a change in corporate name.
Yes, I am. My name is Athene Selesky, and I am the Director of Facilities Permitting for Pride Stores, LLC. And this evening, I come before you to submit our application to the ABCC for a change of corporate name. This was done late last year under the advisement of counsel toward our Board of Directors. And because to facilitate the operation, generally to separate the operations from ownerships of general properties, the name change was again under advisement of counsel. There is absolutely no change in ownership. It is simply just strictly a name change.
Mm-hmm. Okay, they're basically splitting the business from the property. It
Indeed.
sounds like. Okay.
That's exactly what it is, sir.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
No, absolutely.
Is there a motion to accept the change in corporate name?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments for the
No,
comments?
it's all straightforward.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There you go.
Thank
All I have
you
to do
very
is sign
much.
Form 43, that's all I know.
Yes, yeah, we'll get the
Yes.
Form 43 and sign it.
Okay,
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Have a good
Chairman,
evening.
you as well. Thank you. Mr. Henderson.
Take care. Good to see you.
Thank you. You as well. Thank you, sir.
Okay, we're a little, I don't think our 6:10 appointment is here yet, so we are a little early, so we might as well.
Carmen is here.
Well, yeah, but she's our 6:20 appointment.
Oh, okay.
We can go through the meetings, invitations, and reminders. Trash collection follows regular schedule. January 21st, 25th, 2013, paper recycling week. There is a public hearing for the community development block grant,
Correct.
which is tonight, or is that tomorrow? It's Wednesday,
It's tonight.
23rd, right?
It's,
Oh.
it's tonight, should read Tuesday the
Okay.
22nd.
At 7 p.m. at the Roberta Doring Middle School, 68 Main Street, Agawam, Mass. The PVTA Advisory Board is meeting tomorrow, January 23rd at noon at 2808 Main Street, Springfield. The Medical Reserve Corps Train-a-thon, Saturday, June 26, 2013, 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., Parenzo Hall, Westfield State University. The Regional Boards of Selectmen meeting is January 31st, 2013, at 7 p.m. in Ludlow Town Hall, 488 Chapin Street, Ludlow. And our schedule, as it stands now, is February 5th and 26th, although that's all set, right?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe we'll take Carleen. Carleen, would you like to come up early, or?
It's up to you, whatever you're comfortable.
Sure. How are you?
I'm good, congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
Hi, Carly, how are you? Good to see you. Thanks.
Nice to see you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So we have 3 here.
Okay, you are here for a few items.
I am. I have a little presentation for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So my name is Carleen Fisher-Hoffman, and I am the Director and Coordinator for the Town of East Longmeadow Medical Reserve Corps. So tonight what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about the Medical Reserve Corps, what it is, what it does, and go over 2 items of business, budget and appointments. I should take less than 10 minutes of your time tonight. So if you will follow along with me on this handout, we can go through it nice and quick. So the Medical Reserve Corps, which is also known as the MRC, is a national program that started in 2002 as a means to encourage and support citizens to serve their community through volunteering. The MRC supports those efforts during emergencies and other times of need and helps create uniform training and established working systems for those that volunteer. The East Longmeadow MRC was founded in 2009 by East Longmeadow resident Frank Morosino, along with the support of the local emergency planning committee and the Board of Selectmen. The East Longmeadow MRC consists of both medical and non-medical volunteers who assist in preparing for and responding to public health and other emergencies, or helping with routine events during the year. For instance, our unit may be called upon if we need to help staff a shelter, or if we decide to have a H1N1 clinic in town. And by the way, I do have to put in a shameless plug that we are looking for volunteers, and I can be reached at 525-5400, extension 1109. So, the town of East Longmeadow, our unit is overseen by the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, the National Office of the Surgeon General, and a place called NACHO, National Association of County and City Health Professionals. And part of my job is to communicate with all of those departments, along with the Hampden County MRC coordinator, our town contacts, including the Board of Selectmen, Town Administrator, Board of Health, Emergency Management Director, the COA Director, and of course my MRC team. So I am kept quite busy. Our unit is solely run by a grant, and another part of my job is to apply for that grant every year, and the funds allowed are determined by the government through the National Association of County and City Health Professionals. So other responsibilities as your director and coordinator include recruiting, training, and maintaining volunteers, maintaining records, a database, and a budget, public awareness and outreach through events and presentations, media campaigns and presentations to corporate partners, and I also travel locally and nationally to seminars and trainings so I can bring that back to our MRC team. I am also on call for times of emergency. So as we talked about, we have two items for discussion tonight, the budget and volunteer appointments, each of which you'll be asked to vote on tonight if possible. So on this page here, below is the suggested budget for our grant that I mentioned earlier. Again, these funds are used to run the MRC. This is how I intend to use the funds for this year. And I would like to ask for your approval tonight so this can be resubmitted to the National Association of County and City Health Officials in order to receive these funds. We haven't gotten the funds yet. We just received notice that we have been awarded them, but in order to get the actual funds, we have to send the budget in.
And is that just a matter of sending it in, and what's the timeline on that?
February 1st was the timeline for any corrections to be made to the contract that comes attached to the budget. And then March 26th, I believe, is when the actual budget is due. But you know me, everything's got to be done ahead of time.
No clutter?
No clutter, correct.
First, is there a motion to approve the budget as presented?
I have a question.
Sure.
So you have it stated positively that these funds are available. It just has to be put into their budget.
That's absolutely
Budget has to be
correct.
submitted to them. Okay.
When they send word back to me, they tell us exactly what that amount is for.
Okay.
And then when we send first what happens is they call for people to apply for the grant. So when you apply for the grant, you have to send in a preliminary budget along with that. And then they go through everything that comes in, and they decide whether or not you're worthy of getting such grant, and if so, what amount of money they would like to grant to you. And then once they do that, they require that you resubmit your budget with your permanent line items. And as you can see, we're not really dealing with a whole heck of a lot of money here, which actually makes it difficult on my part because there's so much that I would like to do with our group. But because we run on the grant, this is all that I can do, for this year.
How do they determine who gets what amount of money? Do you know?
I think that the general consensus has been that everybody gets pretty much the same amount. I will tell you that we did apply for $5,000 and we only got the $4,000.
Okay.
And in polling other MRC units within our county, pretty much everybody is getting the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure if we say yes, that
That's what
It's
we're going
coming
to
back
get.
to us,
I
yeah.
hear you.
Okay.
No, I have it in writing that
Okay.
amount. Yeah,
Very
so
good,
they
thank
can't
you.
change their mind.
I'm happy to make a motion to accept the budget as presented.
Is there any further discussion?
second, no, not for me.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
There you go.
Why, thank you. So, the next item to talk about is the applicants. We have 3 applicants that we're looking to appoint tonight, and I'm not sure if you were able to get a copy of the applications or not. So the names are Kathy Doe, and you may recognize that name. Kathy is the mother of Brian Doe, and she's very active with Brian in teaching the community about emergency preparedness. And as you know, Brian has been having monthly meetings on that subject, and Kathy has been there. We also have Rebecca Morissette, who has been calling me every week. She is so interested in being a part of our group. She's a person with high energy and willingness to help, and obviously very eager to get started. And lastly, Michelle Murray, who is a licensed healthcare professional who is located here in town. She's also excited to be part of our team, and she is particularly excited about being able to use her background, especially within a shelter situation.
Okay, first we'll have, is there a motion to accept these 3 candidates?
Motion made.
Any discussion?
No.
Okay,
Second. I'll second.
Go ahead, Nick.
Just get a second for the motion.
I
Okay.
seconded.
Okay. And just to say, I know that as our new board members are learning, it's very tough to get people to join these various committees and groups in town, so it's nice to see 3 candidates, especially one with healthcare experience, so. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You're all set.
Great, thank you.
Very good.
Now, Nick, is there anything else with the contract? I think we were going to have our town attorney look at that, correct? Okay, and then we have to have a signature, but nothing we need to do tonight.
Well, we can get that done within next day or so.
Okay, great.
There were actually a couple of other items on here. Were those part of, there was a training summit and scholarship and information sessions and training?
Thank you.
Okay.
Had to restart here, so I
Oh,
haven't
okay.
quite caught up.
Well, I can talk about the first thing. There is a fairly large training summit that is coming up for all the MRC coordinators and directors within the United States. And you have to apply to be able to go, and I will be going. And the travel is picked up by the government, and apparently it's a pretty big deal. It's 3 days and 2 nights, and I'll be flying out in middle of February.
Somewhere warm, I hope.
Virginia. So we're part way there. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be interesting to see what kinds of things are going on and what other MRC units are doing, and I'm hoping that there'll be a lot that I can bring back to our town and get implemented.
Sounds
You?
good.
I
How
think
many
you're gonna
people
find a
are
lot
going?
more is happening than used to be happening, that's for sure.
Right. I also wanted to mention the training session that you mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
That's January 26th.
Okay.
Okay, I think you said June.
Did I? That's entirely possible.
Yeah, I think you did.
Okay.
So that's coming up.
January, okay, that's this Saturday.
This
Okay.
Saturday, correct.
I was just giving everybody more time.
Now, you had one other thing. What was it?
Information sessions and training?
We do have an information session coming up. I think it's the second week of February, but we don't have the date nailed down yet. We're just waiting to hear back from the library. We're hoping to get one of their rooms for that night. And it'll be a combined information session with CERT. So Brian Falk and I will be running that. And hopefully maybe the three of you can come and see what we have planned.
When is that?
I think the second week in February. We just haven't pinpointed a date yet. We're
Okay.
waiting to hear back from Susan Peterson.
Okay.
We will
Keep us
also be
posted.
having a meet and greet specifically for the Town of East Longmeadow MRC. That will be sometime in March, but no date selected as of yet.
Okay, very good. I think that's it.
That's it.
Very good.
More understanding, that's good.
Thank you. I know you asked. See?
I did.
Thank you for the job you're doing.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Nicely done.
Thanks.
Thanks. Very good.
Okay. Our next appointment,
This
are you? Excuse me, are you Mr. Akhtar?
Yes.
Okay. Our next appointment is Mr. Abid Akhtar, if I got that right. Come on up. How are you?
Good, huh?
Oh, sorry.
Welcome, how are you?
And you are the new owner of ZMQ Brothers LLC, doing business as the C-Mart, 668 North Main Street. And we're here to approve applications for food service, retail food, food service, milk and cream, tobacco, and they've all been approved by the health inspector. So I would take these individually, I assume, Nick, right? Okay. Is there a motion? Just out of curiosity, have you been in the business before? Or is this your first venture?
Yes,
in-
the first pass.
Okay, well,
But
good luck.
I'm working in the same place like 6 months, 6 years.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, good luck with it. And,
Thank you.
is there a motion to approve the retail food service permit?
Motion made.
Is there a second?
And seconded.
Any questions, comments?
I'm going on the recommendation of our health inspector that,
Mhm.
with the approval of all the applications,
Mhm. Okay,
taking on his recommendation.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Is there a motion to accept the food service establishment permit?
Motion.
Motion made.
Is there a second? Any questions, comments?
Same comment as before.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to accept the milk and cream license?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And last but not least, is there a motion to accept the tobacco license?
Motion made.
Second.
Approve, I'm sorry. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. You are all set.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Good
luck.
luck to you.
Yes, thank you.
Congratulations, taxpayer.
Okay, we're a little bit early, but I see our fire chief sitting there. If you'd like to come up.
Back up. We ought to just stand up for the whole time.
I
I know it.
What the heck?
Progress.
Good evening.
You're receiving. Wow.
Chief, nice to see you.
Nice to see
Hey,
you.
Chief. Good to see you.
How are you,
Good.
Chief?
Well, dodging the flu.
Oh.
What's that?
Dodging the flu.
Oh, boy. Go burn your hand.
No, I'm good.
Oh,
Vitamins,
clean living.
that's it.
Bottle of that squirt stuff.
That's right. You have to gargle with it nowadays. Okay, got a bunch of items. The first thing is you have received the SAFE grant.
The SAFE Award. Yep. For the new board, through the fire marshal's office, they put a program together that allows us to provide resources to conduct fire and life safety education programs in the schools. It helps fund some of the stuff we do with them. We could use it for backfilling if we needed it, but we don't need to bring people in for that program. It buys us our videos. It helped fund our safe trailer 1 year. The amount this year was $5,225, which is larger than ever.
Nice.
It's really, I mean, it was kind of a surprise because they told us all at the beginning of the application period it was going to be about the same as it's been, which is about $4,000. So there's extra money involved. Initially, it was funded through the tobacco tax for the first 7 years, but now it's funded through the general fund, and the funds are distributed by the Office of Public Safety, Executive Office of Public Safety. We're pretty fortunate. I mean, Ed McCandless is the guy who runs the program. and he puts a lot of time into it, and he's the guy that actually asks for the money. He fills it all out, with our blessing, and it goes forward, and he did a nice job on it this year.
Did they give you more than you asked for?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's unheard of.
And if-
I guess I'm not sure the reason. I have a meeting Thursday.
Don't question
I
it.
was gonna say,
No,
don't
I
even
was
bring
just
it
gonna
up.
ask a couple other chiefs. I think,
For the love of God, don't question
what
it.
I wonder is if some other
But what
departments
if back
that
with
typically
interest?
didn't apply, and there's extra funds available in the,
Very nice.
it's like anything else. If you got the money in your account,
Right,
make sure you dole it out to where it's supposed to go,
Right.
and if they don't want to give it back to the higher level, so.
right.
We're appreciative.
Yeah.
I think Lorraine's got some forms for you to sign.
Okay.
Okay, if you can sign those.
Sure.
We can
Happy to.
send out, I think it's gotta go in by the 1st.
Okay.
Yep.
And just to give the board an update, and I know you weren't chief at the time, but you were on the force. I believe last year, there was a 6-year-old who actually, I think, lived in Springfield, but was a student in East Longmeadow schools, and he actually woke up and basically rescued his family.
Right.
There was a
We
porch
honored
fire
him.
at his
Yeah.
house.
We, I
Yeah.
was here. It was a
Okay.
great meeting.
And
Yeah.
so, just to let you know that this stuff does sink in with even kids
It does.
as young as
we
6 years old.
We actually
so
have a
it's
firefighter on the department who was actually at the fire station for a call one night, and his house caught on fire. And she'll appreciate this when I say this, but when the mother kind of panicked, she got her younger siblings out of the house, and she was actually given an award at a town meeting one night from the state fire marshal's office. So the program, it's effective. Online, if you look, there's just a number of stories on top of stories where this program is paying off and is saving lives.
Good, great.
Excellent.
Okay, the next item, Nick, is this for this young man?
20 years service.
20 years of service?
Well, I submitted the original letter.
Right,
Okay.
but we had that a couple weeks
Yeah,
back.
okay.
Yeah.
We've been holding it.
Yeah.
He's just shy of a few weeks, but if you
He's-
count his other service, he's
Right,
working
I mean,
20
if
years.
you look at it, I mean, I can't, the way the fire department's, our history of the fire department, he's got 18 years, 3 months on.
Right.
For me to write a letter from the fire department saying he's got 20 years of service
Correct.
wouldn't do anybody any justice. He's put time in with the Board of Appeals, exactly how much, I'm not sure, I believe it's over 3 years. So that gives him over the time service, and I believe he's still on the Board of Appeals. His life just took him in a different direction from the
Nursing,
fire
right.
department, and he's aggressively pursuing a registered nurse, but the next level up. And it's an incredible amount of schooling with the young family that he has, so fire department wise, took the back burner, and he decided it was time for him to retire. So I would encourage the board, if they could submit a letter for 20 years of service, pending the approval of the Board of Appeals, I guess. Who's the Board of, I'm not sure where that goes from, as far as their time on, so, yeah.
Okay. We can review that with the board and then proceed accordingly. That sound good, Nick? Great. Now, you've got some proposed promotions?
Yes. Because Brian was lieutenant on the department, his resigning opens up in a lieutenant's position. And as per the rules of rules and regulations of the fire department, I guess the way the rules are written is I appoint with your with your approval. Firefighter Ben Cody has been on the department for over 10 years. He's one of these guys who goes above and beyond when it comes to knowledge. He has taken an incredible amount of courses at the Mass Fire Academy, through the fire department and also on his own. His part-time job now is working at the Mass Fire Academy, teaching firefighters, not just new firefighters, but seasoned firefighters. And the knowledge that he brings back to us is incredible. He's been a driver with the department for years. He's a career member. If with the board's approval, I would like to appoint Ben.
Do you need a motion?
What's a credential fire inspector?
The state fire marshal's office has gone through a complete rebuilding of their fire inspection program. Used to be you were certified fire inspector 1 level and fire inspector 2 level.
Right.
One gave you the credentials to go out and do the basic inspections. Inspector 2 gave you the level to go out and do more in-depth inspections and also review plans, submit recommendations, And in their reviewing and redoing of the program, they came out with a credential plan, which is a little more in depth. And he was one of the first groups to go through it. And he actually took it with the seasoned inspector from Longmeadow, who, has been an inspector for 15 years, like myself. And he said the class was very intense, and they both passed it. So
Okay.
I was pretty happy that he did that.
Well, as you look here, he's Fire Officer 2, which is up there, Fire
Right.
Instructor 1, and a Credential Inspector. So really, all he's really, and he's going for the Instructor 2, so he's
Right.
really, he's up there as far as knowledge and experience
Oh,
level goes,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Good.
And that's my plan, is to
And-
try and put the guys that have the knowledge,
He's a good man, too. He's a
Right.
good person, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, Ray?
No.
Is there a
No.
motion to accept the chief's recommendation to have Mr. Firefighter Cody become lieutenant?
So move.
Second.
Was there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Thank you.
Aye.
Very good.
Just kidding. Okay, next.
The next one.
Yeah.
Per the collective bargaining agreement between the town, the board, and the permanent firefighters, yearly, 3 members get appointed to specific positions within the department. The way the contract's written is they need a letter from the board to the chief and with a copy to them for their file. The 3 positions are training officer, department mechanic, and fire inspector. I talked about Ben already, what he's done. Ben's been the inspector since I was promoted to fire chief. He's really taken it by the reins and running with it. Deputy Steve Ryback, he's been training officer for over 20 years. He's got a bunch of programs in place and currently developing new programs with the help of Ben. I mean, it's training officer of a 30-something member department's not an easy task, and to keep the stuff fresh and to keep the stuff current. Steve's got a new project now he's actually working on. We're trying to update all our records to put it into something that's easily formatted and easily accessed and easily tracked to see where guys are missing and what guys are. And we're getting close. Yeah.
Good.
And Sean Minahan has been a mechanic for over 10 years, almost 10 years. He took it from Richie Holly when Richie Holly retired. He's got a lot of regular scheduled maintenance in-house that he does on the smaller equipment. Most of the bigger equipment, he schedules and provides the service to get it to and from. Most of that stuff needs to be done by emergency vehicle technicians and certified diesel mechanics. From your industry, you can't be a backyard mechanic and work on fire trucks or even the big diesel engines. But Sean's got the knowledge that helps to make sure that our repairs are done in a timely and efficient manner.
So we need
Okay.
to issue a letter. Do you need a motion, though, to do that?
A motion to accept all 3.
I'll
as,
make a motion to accept your 3 appointments of training officer, mechanic, and fire inspector.
Is there a second?
Second,
Any questions or comments?
having toured the complex with you, Chief, and looking at the mechanical fitness of all the equipment, things are being done correctly.
We're trying. Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Oh, so you did the training officer, right? You can do them all.
I did all 3 of them at once, yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Very good. Next, we've got new call firefighter training update.
Yep. Like they said, I got the official notice. The training begins March 30th. It's a Saturday. It's a pretty aggressive schedule that they put forward. My announcements are out. We're receiving apps. The paper has the deadline January 28th. We're going to do interviews, Corey checks, and physicals to follow after that. We're on schedule. I do have one question. It's with this. We have an intern that came to us highly recommended from the high school. He's 18 years old. He graduates this year. He turns 19 in September. Family in town. He's interested. He's actually given us an application. The rules and regulations of the fire department, signed by the board, state that the call applicants must be a minimum of 19 years old. He turns 19 in September, prior to any time that he would actually be a probationary firefighter on the fire department. He doesn't become a probationary member on the fire department until he actually gets his certification. My question is there any thought on the board to giving this kid a chance to go through the program as a trainee, and then from there he'll be 19 years old? I'm not sure about the
What are the requirements and the age requirements for participating?
18 at the fire academy.
And where do the financial responsibilities fall?
As far as insurance-wise, he's covered by the town, like all the other call firefighters, and trainees also. Financial responsibilities are the physical that we initially talked about, turnout gear we have. Other than that, there really are no financial responsibilities from the town. The physical and.
So you have a specific number of slots for this?
I originally asked for 5.
Oh, you did?
I originally asked you folks for 5.
Right.
There's no guarantee on it. I anticipate we'll have no problem with our 5. And as far as applications go, we're there. We're currently at 5 right now, but I expect a few more to come in. Some have been picked up, just haven't dropped off yet. So, but I mean, you got to have a field to pick from.
Well, if it's not, breaking the rules, he has to be 18 to go to the training.
Right.
And he needs to be 19 if indeed the training.
If he completes it.
And
Right.
you find him to be satisfactory. I don't see a problem with it, but I don't know legalities.
Well, I'd like to bounce it off our town council
Yeah.
as he comes in, so. just,
Because if
because
you
I don't wanna
have
get us
that
in any-
person
No,
involved in
yeah.
activities up at the station, and something happens that's not, something negative happens.
Right.
What
Right.
happens? I think I agree with Paul. I think
No,
we
that's
ought to
fine.
just take a
I
quick
appreciate
look at
that,
it
yeah.
with town council.
Yeah.
I think, in theory, I'm fine with it, but,
Yeah. No, I mean, let's.
it's
protect
new, we haven't
everybody.
discussed it with anybody as far as,
No.
the
Right.
legalities.
Completely understandable.
Okay.
Yep.
That's not a no, but.
No, I understand. Yeah, I appreciate that.
And last, you have an invitation.
Yep. The Western Mass Chiefs are conducting a legislative breakfast to be held February 1st, 2013, from 8 a.m. to 10:30. I do need to apologize for the short notice. The official invites for the legislative body, i.e., everybody higher than Board of Selectmen, mayors, all that, for state reps, House of senators, the governor, went out quite some time ago. And one of the committee members that's in charge of this had the brainchild that, this is a perfect opportunity to get all the players in one room and invite your local representatives, boards of selectmen, town managers, mayors. I got the email Friday morning. I dropped a letter off right after lunch on Friday. It would be welcome if all of you or one of you could attend. You could drive up with me in the morning. Well, I guess I've never had breakfast at a log cabin. They say it's pretty good, but it's a chance for the Western Mass Chiefs to say what they're doing good, say what the help, the reps, the funders can do for us, and in what direction we're heading in. We have a lot of programs that we offer that maybe not everybody knows about. So
I'd like to go.
Yeah, I think I'll go.
okay.
It'd be interesting.
Well, from what I heard, it's not confirmed yet, but last I spoke to one of the coordinators, Elizabeth Warren was on the short list, so she's probably going to be there. And they were really, really trying to get the governor there too, so that would be.
He's not running again. Anyway.
But just, so, I'll put 2 down?
Yeah, I need to check my calendar.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
And you're driving too, so that's fantastic.
Unless it snows, because he's got the crown fixed.
Never get up the hill. Might get up, coming
Well,
down.
close it though, they close the
Yeah, they
hill.
close the other side. I don't know if they close that
Oh,
front
okay.
side, but they
Yeah.
close the other.
All right.
I think that's
Okay,
it.
That's it. Very good. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the night.
Thank
You
you.
too. Okay. See you, Chief.
Thanks, Nick.
And I noticed our illustrious police chief came in.
There he is. I felt the room change a little.
It looks fresh from the barber shop, too.
Oh.
How are you, Chief?
I'm wearing this coat.
Oh, boy.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Hurts. Got any knives?
Patriots.
Yeah. What are you, Ray Lewis? Anyway,
You've got guts.
but I digress.
Did you watch the TV yesterday by any chance?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
First game was good.
The first item is the turnover of the old police cruisers. You have two, right?
Yes, there's two. There's one that's probably not in the best. We put some money over the years into it to keep it going, and if we're looking at it for a pool car, I would strongly suggest trading it in, because we'll probably get more than out of it that way than when
Okay.
we're going to turn around putting it in for another department to use. And I think I have a number there, which one is better than the other. But I'm just, to the board, it's your decision on what you wish to do with these vehicles. We did get a price for a trade-in, and I think it's in the ballpark area, about $2,500, maybe $2,900.
Mhm.
And can you put that against the two new ones we're going to be buying?
Hey. Now, one of the cars is this tug-of-war car, which
It's the what?
the dog officer wants. And then we're going to take the stuff out of that and retrofit it into the other car and give it to the dog officer as opposed to.
No.
But what's your opinion on that? Well, I don't mean to digress here, but
I know LCAT was looking for one. LCAT has had a car, and I think it's a '98 Crown Vic. It's an older car.
Mhm.
I'm sure we can buy fine tires for it, but we don't have readily available tires for that because it's been out of production for about 10 years. And the tire sizes have changed with the newer cruisers.
Mhm.
So that's up in our lot now. If you want, we can try to put that in when we have a auction this spring. We generally get rid of bikes and other supplies, items that we find that people don't lay claim to. So we'll do that, and we can probably auction it off at that point to the highest bidder, unless there's another department that wants it. We were going to give this other cruiser to LCAT to use to go around and videotape the different functions.
Mhm.
Again, that's what was discussed. It's your ultimate decision on
Okay.
where you want what to go. We were going to retrofit that other cruiser to use as a dog car. How often it goes out, how often it's going to be needed, I don't know.
He's
I believe
pretty busy.
Tom,
Yeah.
well, I know
Is
Tom
this the
has
one
a
you wanted to
vehicle
trade in?
for it. No, the one, I don't think we're going to gain anything if we keep
Because
the
that one
one we
already
should
sounds like a
trade in.
dog car.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
right. It's probably yellow would be a more preferable color for it, like a lemon.
Okay.
So they're up there, we have them. I just need a decision. We're not going to get the new cars until probably middle to late February.
Okay.
So at that point, we're going to need to, if we trade that in, we can get the titles and we'll process it that way. But I
Okay,
just
so we have a little bit of time
direction-
to.
Right, direction from
Okay.
the board.
All right, great.
What do you want to do?
So you've got one that's an old dog and one that's not too bad, correct?
Car 3 is, well, the one in the lot now is like a '98 Ford, so it's 14 years old.
Okay.
Car 3 is the one that we probably should get rid of it because it's just going to cost us more money to keep it operational in a pool environment. Car 4 is the one that we're talking about giving out to a different department.
Mhm. Okay. We'll get back to you on that.
All right.
Give you some guidance, hopefully. Now, next item is Spring Shred Day.
Booked ahead Joe Kelly again from Pro Shred in Wilbraham has been very helpful with us. This is going to be, Nick, 5-6 years, close to it. Twice a year that we're doing it. The dates we penciled in,
Get a tremendous turnout.
9 to 12, yeah.
You get a lot of food for the Council on Aging.
Food and actually cash donations. Some people actually give money as well.
And sometimes you wear different sneakers, depending on the
Sometimes I
weather.
do, depending on what day of the week it is.
So, okay, so we'll look forward to that.
So we have that, the
And that's
spring, the
something
fall.
that we can volunteer. Usually, the high school kids who are looking for
Community
community service will be there volunteering, so they help
Yes.
out a lot. But sometimes you get slammed at certain times, and it's nice to have a large contingent of people there. So a lot of people want to get rid of a lot of stuff, and
No, it's been well received by the people in town, and
you're not doing electronics
Other
at
communities.
all, are you?
have not heard. I know Carolyn, I believe, has had that contact for before, and that was
Too
a
successful.
very successful.
Well, it would've been better if the people got there on time, you know,
Yeah.
but the fact that they got there the half an hour after it started, yeah.
And the size of the truck we're just glad to get out of town.
True.
That thing was loaded to the max,
It's true. Okay.
and at zero cost.
Yeah, that's,
You know, it's usually I think the high school had one in the fall,
Mhm.
and there was like a coffee.
How much can you bring? Is it,
Well, we try not to really kill the person with it, but they'll take any electronics, because I think bottom
Are
line
we
what they
talking
do
about
is
paper?
what's that?
Talking about paper?
Yeah,
or
the paper.
the paper we restrict it to homes, not businesses.
Right, but I mean, if you're, I mean, how much
Some
can you?
people have actually
Some
come
sneak
up
through
and
though, businesses.
they've dropped off and they've gone home and finished cleaning. Best results have been what, overcast and rainy days.
Yep.
It just seems like
Yeah,
it.
it's just a steady stream.
masses
No pun
come out for
intended of
that.
people, yeah.
And the electronic, I didn't participate. The electronics consists of what?
Television, old computers, monitors,
Wait,
all
throw it
those
there and
things
grind
you
it up?
just don't know what to
all
do
those
with.
things, right, and you gotta pay to get rid of today.
Yeah.
And the problem was the collectors didn't show up for half an hour, 45 minutes at least. So everything was piled in the back,
Oh,
on the, you know,
beautiful.
next to the driveway. So when they got there, the first task was to get 45 minutes worth of stuff in the truck, and then they could start keeping up with the people who were there. So that was one minor glitch.
We got through it.
I have a
Yes,
few
we got
candidates
through
for
it.
that deal, I can tell you that much. Okay.
Okay. The next item is the Mass State Police training.
I'm still waiting for, I got the original phone call from the Lieutenant Colonel, and I'm still waiting for my phone call saying what dates they can be out here for the training.
Okay.
So I'll keep the board appraised of what that date is and times and locations.
Okay.
Then it says board interested. What's that little caveat?
If you want to observe the training aspect of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
In the past, some board members have, and.
that's
some
gonna be interesting as
personnel.
anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you want to be the runner?
The what?
You want to be the runner?
What?
I'm only kidding.
Runner?
Runner.
The only taser you want.
Shoot, yeah, that's,
Yeah, thank
it's only
you very
paint, it
much.
washes off.
Is that like the
And they're
woman
accepting
that was in
volunteers.
the drink the other day? Yeah, okay.
No.
Okay. And the next item, your last item, I believe, is the Police Academy.
Yes, it's scheduled to start February 4th. They're in the process of getting all their required gear to have that first day for the academy. And I do not have a graduation date. It's an 800-hour course, so it would probably be more towards the middle to late July.
Is it 40 hours a week?
Yes,
Okay, so, yeah,
Yeah.
so you're looking at 20 weeks, so yeah, okay,
sometimes plus.
okay.
But they'll be starting that. We've got 3 in there, and I think it's close to the high 40s for a population in that class. So it's going to be
Okay.
it's a good turnout.
Good.
That's great.
So
Okay.
Okay, great. I think that's it.
okay, I'll get to you about your event on Friday. That item that you're going to be taking the pool car.
Yeah, what
I didn't check that in Paul.
Yeah, we're all gonna, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Gas, tires,
Air,
Well, it has
air in the
tires,
tires.
yeah,
air in the tires.
Sticker on the
Has a
windshield.
has a steering wheel.
in the bottom of the tires, definitely.
You want
And
lights
it's not
and
supposed to
sirens?
snow till Friday night a little bit, just only an inch or two according to what I saw today, so. Because if not, you know, if there's any chance of snow, I'm not taking that thing.
We have a backup.
It goes good sideways on a pipe. No.
I wouldn't know, I wouldn't know, I was gonna wanna travel the Pike at 30 miles an hour last year because I was scared to death, so.
That's when you let me drive. I'll take care of the whole thing
Oh, yeah,
for
right,
you.
yeah, then I'll meet my maker. All right, thanks.
All right, thank you.
Gotta switch your Yankee jacket now.
Bye-bye. Nick, see you.
All right,
He's gone.
next we have Carolyn Brennan, the Council on Aging. I saw you MC.
Welcome back.
How are you? How's the wedding?
That's great. Nice to see you.
Hey, Carolyn, how are you? Good to see you.
The weather hold out?
It was perfect.
Good.
It's just perfect.
Yeah, Saturday was, yeah.
It was a good day.
Is this,
Mr. Chairman, I would suggest
Executive.
board considering an executive session for
Mhm.
an appointment with Ms. Brennan and Mr. Mackey as
Mm.
well.
okay. Then why don't we, is there a motion to move to executive session for matters of personnel? Actually, it's personnel, right?
Yes, they both
It's
are.
both
Yeah.
for matters.
Motion.
Personnel matters and strategies.
With regard to staffing?
Right.
Collective bargaining.
Collective bargaining, okay.
I make the motion.
Okay, is there a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, Mr. Punderson.
Yes.
Ms. Baranski?
Yes.
Mr. Federici, yes.
Aye.
Ready?
Anybody works in there.
Okay, we're back in the open session. The next item The approval of, is there a motion to approve the open session minutes of December 11th?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Yes, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve the executive session meeting, minutes of December 11th, 2012?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, if I remember correctly, you didn't have a chance to review the January 2nd ones?
Yes.
So we will
exactly.
table those till the next meeting, Nick,
Yep.
if that's okay. We have our old business. The next item is our Board of Selectmen budgets.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
This just a carryover item, and would expect it to maybe be on others as well, other agendas, but the board obviously met last week with its department heads and conducted a review of the budgets. And in past years, that would have, the board has used that meeting in most cases to consider approval of the budgets, either as presented or with amendments that were discussed or with department heads. The board did not take any votes on those budgets, so I would say to the board that that is still an order of business that needs to be done. I think that given the timing of everything, with new members coming on, appropriations certainly understands that a first review, maybe even a second review, but at some point that needs to be done. So,
Okay. And I agree, and I think if there's a question, we review the budgets, and if we want to get back to department heads, which we haven't had a chance to do, to question further items, this will give us time, and we can, if you want to put that on for the next meeting, hopefully we'll have, we'll have discussed it with the necessary department heads. That would be obviously for the fiscal year 14 approval. So the next item is the Appropriations Committee meeting, February 7th,
correct.
6:30, Council on Aging. I assume I'll be there.
The, Mr. Chairman, the chairman of the Appropriations Committee would like to know which members of the board will be able to attend that meeting, and would also like to know, get an idea of which departments that they would specifically like at that meeting. As I understand it, actually reported from Selectman Hunterson, who I believe attended the last meeting.
Yes.
I can be there.
I'll be there.
I'll be here.
I was just checking my calendar. I didn't want to.
And they want to know which
Department heads.
boards you want reporting at that time, so we have to discuss that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Are there
And actually, our next meeting's before that meeting.
It's on the 5th.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
Should I put any departments on alert? In particular, from all on alert? I'm not sure.
Paul, you've got the most experience here. I'm going to defer.
I would say just
to you.
I don't have any specific ones, but yeah, if you just want to tell them all, in theory, they may be, once everyone's gotten a chance to digest the budgets and get their questions in, they may all, I'm not gonna say they're all gonna be there, but there may be a chance that they'll be there, so just to let everyone know, to sort of not plan anything for the 7th.
So
That's at
after
6 o'clock?
after reviewing, we're going to
6:30.
decide which ones
Council on Aging.
we need to
Thank you.
speak with, Paul? After
Yes.
further
Yeah.
review?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, next item, annual town meeting warrant articles. We have the petitioned articles are due March 1st, and we're looking for an internal date for ours.
Just for the benefit of the new members, the Board of Selectmen adopted its own regulations pertaining to the warrant some years back, and among them is that, yes, there's the general bylaw for the March 1st deadline, but the board also has taken the liberty of setting a date for internal warrant articles for other boards and commissions to afford them time. It hasn't been every year, I don't believe, but the board typically would allow for maybe another 2 weeks for those articles to come in. I think it's really just a decision of the board, but I'd like to be able to get word out to the other departments as soon as possible.
Okay.
So it's an every 2 weeks?
So we'd be looking at, like, say, for example, petitioned articles the 1st and internal the 15th or something like that
Yep.
of March?
Typically.
Okay. Is that something that the board wants to vote on tonight, or do
Yeah.
we want to?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, is there a motion to have the internal due date for annual town meeting warrant articles, internal annual town meeting warrant articles to be March 15th?
So
Motion.
moved.
Second.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next item is a draft of the annual town report. And before Nick gets involved in explaining what this is, Nick does a lot of work on this. And
a lot here.
it's a great tool, it's a great resource. It tells the year, basically the year in review in all departments of the town. It has a lot of information, and I can tell you just from being here, this year is gonna be a daunting task, so, just because of the year that we've had. So, in any event, if you wanna proceed, further explaining exactly what the process is.
I appreciate the kind words about the report. It's a big effort and a lot of help from all the department heads and boards and commissions. And it is a requirement under the bylaws that the annual report be created and available to the public. I will want to, I think, work closely individually with the Board of Selectmen Chairman, Board of Health Chairman, because of the how the reports are going to be written and what the message will be, and then some of the more data information as well. We'll try and put that in there. This was just a reminder, and I would, if there are any immediate thoughts that any of the board members have towards that, I could work them into some draft frameworks and get a working session on that.
We're going to discuss a meeting time next week, or probably the week after, I believe.
Mhm.
Okay, very good. I'll kind of ask you to give the tickle on that. Okay,
Okay, great.
that's for Board of Health.
All right. Next item, and actually, once again, that's a blended thing because I was the chairman of the Board of Health.
Yeah, I know.
Till December
We're going to
18th,
sit down and have a little,
so,
yeah.
And we can't sit down together because we have to post that meeting, so we'll have to go separately.
Well, I think though that it'll be okay. He can bring all the correspondence along. We can draft something, if that sounds good to you, Paul.
That's
you know?
fine. Yeah. Okay, now, next item is boards and commissions. I know we filled 3 on the MRC tonight, which was great. What else do we have for applicants?
Well, report to the board that we have, I believe, approximately 6 or 8 applicants to date for various boards. And so I just wanted to give that brief report to the board about that. And also, I'm getting them in with sort of different levels of information. The board has asked kindly for a resume and a letter of introduction, and what their interests are, what their expertise may be. I'm not necessarily getting that. I'm getting, I'm interested in this commission, and I may have had experience. If it's, for example, a rec commission, I may have been a coach in town for so many number of years and have this interest. So my first question is whether or not the board would really want to make a requirement of those types of documents, or if a more informal approach is going to be acceptable. Then beyond that, to see how the board what the board wants to do with respect to the appointment process. And it's been varied over the years. There have been times where the board has taken, there may have been just a single vacancy. Here we have several, and they've taken the informal vacancy and just said, we know this individual, or we know of their experience, much like you did with Mr. Shields in the appointment of Mr. O'Connor.
Yeah.
But so I'm just looking at a little bit of direction so that I can, when there's a little bit more volume, make a presentation to the board, or if there have been times where the board has asked for people to come in and have an interview with them about their interest. So you might schedule 2 boards on a given evening and get 6 or 8 applicants or what have you.
Okay. I think with the, because we've had a decent number of vacancies for a decent amount of time, my personal opinion is I think we should sort of relax the process, and like you said with Mr. Shields, that was a candidate who fit the qualifications. He did give us a resume. And,
Yeah, the resume was there, yeah.
Yeah, but with some of these people, if they've been in town forever, for lack of a better word, and they've been involved in things, it might be something that we could take that into consideration as opposed to a formal resume. So, but I'll leave that up to the board for their thoughts.
I think on a case-by-case basis, if we don't, as you said, if we know the person, they're being recommended, that that certainly you can relax the situation, but if it's not someone we're aware of, then perhaps the letter and resume make
Sure.
more sense.
Or, then I'm rethinking my own thought, if it's someone we know, we could also always tell them we need this and this to, to complete the process, so.
I don't want to leave it out there where, I mean, I like to depend on the recommendation of people that are board chairmen and so forth. Not knowing somebody, I would rather have some information before I make a decision.
Okay.
It's just seeing how, the way things go, the potential of things going awry, if you can limit that. I know I was interviewed when I was appointed to the planning board. There was 3 of us, I believe, and I thought that it was a good process to go through personally.
Okay, so it sounds like,
What I would take then from the board is
As needed.
as they come in, or maybe in a bunch, so maybe it makes sense if there are 3 candidates for a vacancy, or 2,
Have them in.
or 4, something like that,
Mhm.
for 2 vacancies. Send those along to the individual board chairman to solicit input on any of the candidates.
Sure.
And then have that come back to the board
okay,
with recommendations. Does that
Mhm.
seem?
sounds
Yeah.
fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, sounds good. And then next item is the Green Committee status?
I just really wanted to bring to the board's attention that the Green Committee has been dormant since, sometime before June, I believe. And I think there were members who decided that they weren't going to be coming back anyway. What I'd like to do is, I don't know that there will be interest or time really to get the committee back before June 30th, but and to do anything necessarily meaningful. But that's just my opinion. Of course, if the board wants to try and get something going, that perfectly understandable. A couple of issues that the Green Committee had last spoken about, though, were that it is an 11-member committee. And out of the 11 members, I believe 6 or 7 are department-appointed people,
Mhm.
members, along with the chairman of the Board of Health, and then chairman of the Board of Selectmen, because former Selectman Driscoll had the interest in the committee to continue with that. So there was a lot of debate among the committee because we were having difficulty with quorums. Citizens at large do need to be able to interact with department heads, but is it better left to have a more citizen-driven committee with requests to individual department heads to come to specific meetings rather than making a requirement for every 2 weeks? And that's the other thing, the committee was trying to operate every 2 weeks before a Board of Selectmen meeting. Opening it up to other nights of the week seemed to be a popular topic. So there were just a bunch of different issues. The committee, has a mission to look at opportunities for sustainable energy, for increasing of recycling and waste management, for getting involved with projects, very successful writing program at the elementary school level, and also a scholarship that is a terrific scholarship, but it was also with the participation of a high school student on the committee, or high school student. So without having a benefit of involvement at that level, it will be difficult to make an award of a scholarship. We haven't had any contact knowing what's going on with the environmental club. So
Right.
whole host of issues. I guess the basic one is, does the board feel compelled to have a Green Committee try to get established and work through the end of this current fiscal year? Or does the board wish to consider all of these issues and revamp it and solicit interest at that point?
Okay, and just to let the board know, the scholarship, I don't know if you're familiar with the scholarship that Nick was talking about, was part of the agreement with, is it Allied Waste, or what is it?
Correct.
Yeah, and it's a $4,000 scholarship, I believe, right?
No, it was a total of $3,000.
No, $3,000, I'm sorry.
Yep.
okay, on an annual basis, which is part of their contract with us. And so obviously, we wouldn't want to lose that or not be able to give it out to, a deserving student. So I wouldn't be averse to opening up the Green Committee to the general public and not tying down department heads or other people in departments, but as you suggested, have them come in on an as-need basis. And if there are people out there who are willing to take the time to work on the Green Committee on various projects, I think that'd be great.
I agree with that. Yes.
Okay.
With respect to the scholarship, it's my understanding that the community funding, if you will, would still be available even if one is not awarded this year. That it's sort of a rolling type of fund, as it's been described by the general manager to me. So I don't think that the town misses out on that. Or if the town decided maybe we aren't going to issue it, but this other community opportunity came up that we'd like to see supported for this particular year.
Okay.
So I think the funding is still there. And if that means maybe doing an extra scholarship at the end of the contract, maybe that's what happens.
Okay. Sounds good. So we know we don't lose it, but I also know that as a parent of a child who just finished college, it's, you don't want to see somebody who could need it miss out on it because it's, because of the administrative issue, if you want.
So shall I advertise then for openings on the Green Committee?
Yes.
Sure. Are we going to change to the size as well, so that a quorum is not as much of a challenge?
Easier to get a quorum.
Mhm.
I mean,
Is there a mandate as to how many members have to be on the committee?
This is a committee of the board's design.
So
I mean, you gotta
5 is a
get-
great number.
what's that? Yeah, that was the problem with the CPC too originally. There's 11 or 13 members.
It's too many.
A lot of people to get a quorum.
Okay, and obviously I assume if we get more people, it's, we can always
Right.
work things out. So, yeah, if you want to make it
You
a
wanna go
5-person.
5 or 7.
Well, 5 member, then 3 is a quorum. That's
Yeah,
one more
but
than half.
it doesn't give you that many diverse opinions. I mean, 7 gives you pretty good,
Right.
it spreads it out pretty well.
It's a minimum
And
of
you only
5?
need 4, yeah, but
And one of them will be the chairman of the Board of Health, so.
Why don't you say a minimum of 5? Which-
well,
Or a minimum of 7, I thought.
I would say a minimum of
Yeah.
7.
Okay.
To me, I mean, it's,
All right.
you're gonna have to get 4
Sure.
people. It's not that hard.
So with that, will there be 6 citizens at large and the chairman of the Board of Health, or will it be 7 citizens at large with the chairman ex officio? How does the board want to configure it that way?
Total 7,
Sure.
all inclusive?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 citizens.
Okay,
With-
sounds
with
good.
the
With
6
this-
citizens and the
with-
Board of Health.
Yep, okay. Sounds good.
That's a good number.
All right. Our next item is the Veteran Service District. Is there, obviously, we're involved with the regional district. Is that, are they taking on another town, or is it just a matter of?
Well, I brought this to the board's attention and provided information about the district itself. And since we're in the budget process, there's something in the agreement to point out that whether or not the board has any interest in continuing with this district.
Mhm.
If the board does not, then the board needs to give notice 60 days before the end of the agreement, but even by that time, it'll be too late for our budget planning, although the figures should be right around there. But if we're not going to be a participant,
Mhm.
then we need to, I would recommend the board make some plans and get some things in motion, notify the district sooner rather than later, and then figure out what it's going to do, because
Okay.
that budget number for veterans may increase.
Okay.
Through the district participation?
Well, no, with
But no, if
with the
we-
district
yeah.
participation, your number is probably somewhere around 34,000 for salary and expenses for the portion payable to the
Right.
director.
Right.
If the town decides to go alone, which it could, that will be a significant increase by law.
Mhm.
Right.
And even if the town decides to go with another town, for example, there's a vacancy, as I understand it, with the town of Longmeadow, and the board hasn't had an opportunity to discuss that, but for example, if you went 50-50 on that, it still would be probably be more, I would think.
why do we, to explain the assessment system to me again, why are we 46% of the district between here and, was it Wilbraham, Munson,
No,
Hampton, and Wales?
The committee, the district is East Longmeadow, Hamden, Munson, Wales, and Holland.
In Holland, okay.
And the way that the committee initially formed and carried on is that they do a proportional share. What they do is they add up all of the equalized value of property in each town.
Okay, because it said equalized value, but I didn't know how they came out with it. Okay, keep
So
going.
they take a look at the equalized property values of each town.
Right.
And they add them up and they do a simple average, and then based on that, it's your percentage. It's not a simple average, rather, whatever your equalized value represents as a percentage of that sum tells you what your percentage of the need for the budget is going to be for that year.
Mm.
So with East Longmeadow, they did the equalized value, it came out to something like 49.2% or something like that. And so therefore, the town is responsible for 49% of the payment for the district.
I understand that. I thought it was 46. I was just,
For maybe,
I could be wrong. I read a lot of stuff, but I just didn't know what they meant by equalized assessment. I didn't know how that all went together, so that's why I asked.
All right, next item is a casino update. Now we've got, I think there's 2 casinos that don't even have a territory. They just paid the money, but we've got the ones in Springfield, so is there,
Mr. Chairman, I would put that on for Selectman Bronski to inform the board about last Thursday evening, and maybe add anything that.
okay?
Yep, so we both attended the regional meeting that was held by the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, basically called various communities together with the ombudsman for the state to talk about how different communities might apply to be affected communities. So there's the host community basically wherever the casino will be located, but certainly the state is encouraging the applicants, the casino applicants, to work with surrounding communities and come together with some agreement. So basically the meeting was talking about how that regulation would work, pointing us to a lot of places on their website where we could get more information, and allowing people to ask questions. I thought it was very informative. Anything to add to that?
Just maybe just the point of, there was a discussion about how there has been a $50,000 amount allocated for the pursuit of this, and just to make it clear that the $50,000 number for if the town of East Longmeadow is going to submit as part of that, that would be funding possibly available to come up with the cost of studies to
Right.
prove the argument that the ombudsman laid out in better detail what the stakes might be for mitigation funds beyond that. And there are potentially significant amounts of money for impacted communities that are projected out, I believe, to 15 years.
Right.
To pay for that. So with that, and I think the board recognized it early anyway, it was worth pursuing to see if there are going to be increased costs with road work, personnel, housing, you name it, that there is by statute funding mechanisms in place to take care of that, at least for 15 years out.
Right.
Okay. Is there a time frame as far as
You gotta get going on it.
getting the information in? I mean, did they give you like you
So,
have to
so
do this by X
the
date?
applicants are strongly encouraged to reach out to their local communities
Right.
and work with them. As a matter of fact, their applications, phase 1 is over, applications are in. Phase 2 is they have to put their final applications in, and the commission is going to be looking favorably at applicants who have actively reached out to their surrounding communities and sought information from them and helped them to come forward with what they believe their situation or their issues might be. So they will be supposedly reaching out to us. And if we feel as a community that we can't afford to come up with what that information is, as Nick said, there's funding available to apply for so that we can hire someone to help us do that impact study.
Haven't we started this in discussing it with Mr. Kingston? There's been some
He was there as
outreach
well.
work done already in discussing it with other towns, aren't we? Are we currently discussing it with other towns? I've been
So
led.
that meeting was hosted by the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, who is talking with the ombudsman about the
Okay.
possibility of a regional approach
Right,
to this conversation about impact.
Okay, good.
So that's something that was being considered.
Yeah, okay.
Great, thank you. Next item is, we had 2 accepted bids. One is for the Municipal Space Study Award. And, Nick, do you want to announce it, or you want me to, or?
Just reporting to the board that both processes for the municipal space study and the Pine Knoll swimming pool designer selection processes have been vetted by the committees, and the committees have come back to the board with recommendations. And you have a memo to that effect.
Okay. Yeah, I was involved in the process for the pool, and we had 2 good candidates, but one, in our opinion, stood out, for lack of a better term, so, all right.
I've had an opportunity to look at the presentations from both of the prospective awardees, and they're both pretty impressive. One is very impressive. Very well done, a lot of experience. And
Okay.
local to Massachusetts too.
Yeah, that was one of the big factors.
Good.
The next item,
Mr. Chairman, if the board is so inclined, I would ask that the board take each award recommendation in turn with separate votes for.
oh, okay, I'm sorry. The first award is for the Municipal Space Study, and the Design Select Committee chose Reinhardt Associates. And is there a motion to approve the selection of Reinhardt Associates to do the space study for the town?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And for the Pine Knoll swimming pool, there was the accepted recommendation from a company by the name of Bargman, Hendry, and Archetype.
Those are the ones I was talking about.
Yeah, and is there a motion to accept that?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
Next item, water tower cellular lease.
There was another matter just below that. Make a recommendation to the board based on conversations. First, for allowing Mr. Fenny, the facilities
sorry, yeah.
manager, and
Yes.
Mr. Quimby for the space study, to oversee the project
Mhm.
as they move forward. So the recommendation, first one would be to allow for Mr. Fenny and Mr. Quimby to be the point persons for the space study. And then the next would be for Mr. Drury to be the
Head the
point
pool,
person along
okay.
with Mr. Fenny for
Okay.
the pool.
Is there a motion to recommend that that Bruce Finney along with Ryan Quimby be point people, if you will, for the space study?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And also to make Colin Drury the point person for the pool project.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And as far as,
Be along with Mr. Fenny.
Along with Mr. Fenny.
I'm sorry, I'd like to amend the previous motion and request that Bruce Finney be put in along with Colin Drury for the pool project.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, as far as the next item, do we have to do that? Should we have them do the advisory groups?
That was a part of a discussion, I believe, even at the pool meeting. Perhaps they could come back with some recommendations to
Okay.
the board.
It's probably a good idea. Sounds good, because I know Mr. Finney's got a lot on his plate, as they say, so, all right.
Yeah, when I saw his name there, I went, that's
Yeah.
violent right on, I'll tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to get in touch with him and that, if he wants to get a committee or get some names together, we'll be happy to look at them as far as a support group for him. Okay. Now, the water tower cellular lease. That went out for an RFP, if I remember correctly.
Not yet at the moment. just in speaking with council, it was determined that the RFP will be written and administered through this office. And I didn't know if there was anything further from the DPW on the matter.
I'm meeting with, through the chair, I'm meeting with the DPW Tuesday.
Okay.
At their scheduled meeting. They had some questions about the, best I determined questions about the determination of surplus space on the tower, and had some questions about that. And I believe we also have some other questions, a couple of other unrelated matters.
Okay, so we can table this and address it at our next meeting. Okay, great. And mosquito spraying.
Really just a reminder to the board that, believe it or not, it'll be time to send out for an RFQ, or but just a request for quotations.
Mhm.
You'll see that at the next meeting. But if there was any input between now and then that the members wanted to provide, please let me know.
Thanks. And the next item regarding energy vendors, I noticed there was one that was interested in meeting with us, and I saw your response, and I thought it was a great response. Instead of doing things piecemeal, I think if there's if we have a series of vendors who want to propose something, we get them all together and do them as a group, as opposed to having people come in, haphazardly.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think the last substantive discussion the board may have had about that led to that conclusion, but was also considering whether or not to have an individual be that point person for sort of meeting with the vendors and making recommendations to the board. However the board wants to see them make recommendations to meet with this group of vendors, or maybe just meet with this vendor because they have a particular product or skill that others don't seem to have. I mean, there have been a number of proposals over the course of the last few years with be it photovoltaic, be it lighting retrofit, that have been successfully implemented, and with purchase of energy contracts and trying to lock in different prices, which I believe this vendor is the gist of what they would want to speak with the board about. So there's a lot of different proposals, a lot of good things to look at, but it really needs to be managed, and I think that's where the board stopped with the discussion, the agreement that it needed to be managed, but didn't necessarily come to a decision as to who should manage it and how the board wants to be kept apprised. I don't know that the board needs to make a decision on this evening.
Okay.
But again, would be something, unless the board has someone or a process in mind, but that it I think bears more discussion by the board to make those decisions.
Okay, that sounds fine. So we'll table it and have further.
As
Go ahead.
usual. What do we do now? Electricity, gas, oil.
Well, I believe when we retrofit the schools, I believe it was Dan, our building inspector, Dan Hillier, and Bruce Finney, I believe, were instrumental. You can correct me on that if.
Yes, it was Dan was taking the lead on that. Mr. Finney certainly was integral, along with Mr. Legue, for that electrical aspect, and that led. Those were utility sponsored, if you will, projects that led to other opportunities that were identified, not only at the high school, but most recently with the middle school. So those were sort of utility driven. To Selectman Punderson's question, where are we purchasing our energy? We are purchasing through the LPVEC, through their contracts, so we are part of that group, and they handle the procurement aspect of it and represent, I don't remember how many communities off the top of my head, but it's a significant amount. But there have been other models that have been brought to the board's attention. There's a group, I believe Hampshire County Council of Governments has an energy program that I couldn't begin to tell you the ins and outs of it, but there's an opportunity to purchase electricity at a reduced rate. So, but they're sort of time consuming, and you really need to get into what they are.
Yeah. So has anybody looked at the figures to see how we're doing compared to how we could do?
With respect
To utility purchasing contracts, all that type of stuff. Has anybody looked at that, or is this something that we're going to develop? We're trying to develop.
I think that's really the concept for the board. With respect to the purchase of the energy, the board can understand that it is going through a competitive bidding process that's managed through LPVEC, so I think that the town's best interests are being served.
That's my question.
Not to say that someone out there doesn't have something better, but oftentimes right now the answer to a vendor that would come in off the street cold calling is, well, that sounds great, but have you discussed the matter with the gentleman or responsible over at LPVEC, and so that's a referral over there.
Right.
Because they may have bids open for any other number of communities or entities. With the utility programs, just in general, I can say that the town has done very well with the high school lighting retrofit project, and with the Birchland Park Middle School, I believe Will Do Well is in the process of, that's been ramped up.
I'm just thinking about the gas, needs, electrical needs. You don't have to buy them for WEMCO. You can get your contracts other places, and it can be substantially more expensive or substantially less expensive depending on how you hit it. It's not an easy target. It's a moving target basically. I'm just concerned that there aren't other ancillary costs in going with one group to get the product here compared to another group to get the product here.
Mr. Chairman, just in response to an idea, you have a situation where you're under a contract and you're trying to evaluate opportunities that would begin at the expiration of your current contract.
Right, but I'm just saying, I'm just trying to make sure
Yeah.
we're being best served. That's all.
Yes.
And has anybody studied to see if we're being best served? That's kind of where I'm coming from. Okay. You're talking big dollars here.
Correct.
Major items.
That's
Major.
right.
Right. Okay.
Any other comments?
No, I would imagine that Lower Pioneer Valley, they're bundling and getting the best price. That's
Right.
why we're
Well, you
bundling
hope
and
so.
going together,
Right.
so. I mean, we're all.
What I'm saying is by bundling and going through that process, are there costs that we can eliminate by going to a different single vendor that can still produce suitable contracts? That's my question. So, not to question their integrity, but just to make sure that we're not paying for a layer somewhere that we don't have to pay for.
So,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, then what I'm hearing from the board is to bring this item back at a future meeting.
Yes.
Maybe with a recommendation as to who and how to manage it.
Well, we might want to find out, I'm sure that either through our town accountant or through the building inspector, through somebody, find out what we've got through LPVEC and see, what we're doing and make sure that it's in our best interest, and then B, if it's not, then we can go from there.
So, is that an answer?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna find out from the,
account.
we have to determine what we have first before we can decide whether we're
That's what I'm
gonna.
saying, exactly.
Okay.
What we're doing first.
Okay.
Just my experience is, there's a lot of different offerings out there at any one time, and it's a timing issue sometimes too, plain and simple, when you go in and when you don't go in, so.
Mhm.
Okay.
Next is the Brown Farm update. Is that you?
Yes, so at the last meeting, we agreed that I would attend the department head meeting, which I did on January 9th, and we had a very good discussion. A lot of it was for my own education. We talked to department heads about the Brown property and their thoughts, their opinions, their understandings, and just shared a lot with me about their concerns. We also talked about Ms. Cunningham's proposal, Phase 1 and Phase 2. And again, there were quite a few observations that were made. And as a result of that meeting, 7 of our department heads have agreed to come together with me separate from the department head meeting to start talking about the Brown property and where we may propose to go from here.
Okay.
So we are meeting on the 28th, Monday. Very great discussion, and I was very pleased with the interest and participation from the folks who volunteered to step up. So
Good, good.
I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Really, thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
All right, our new business. Unfortunately, we have the resignation of Deb Milliken as the capital planning clerical support. So Nick, you'll be posting an internal memorandum. I know you've got a sample of it in here, but this is from last September when you did this last time. So,
It's, Yes, if I could, Mr. Chairman,
Mhm.
again, for the new members of the board, the Board of Selectmen has allowed now for several years for, in agreement with first the Appropriations Committee, to allow for them to have clerical support to arrange meetings, send out materials, and to take minutes. Then about a year after that, Capital Planning made the same request to the Board of Selectmen, and the Board of Selectmen agreed with that. And so Ms. Milliken was the latest person to work for the Capital Planning Committee, and unfortunately, due to personal time commitments, is no longer going to be able to fill that role. The first question to the Board of Selectmen is to get agreement that this is acceptable to the board to continue in this practice, and then from there to see if there are any changes that the board may want to consider in how it's done. What the Board of Selectmen has done is there was one issue. If you've looked at the description, the compensation is based on compensatory time accrued for that, which has been agreeable to the unions by practice to date. And what the board is, the issue that came up over the course of one of the times when there was a vacancy was that not all departments were allowing for their clerical staff to submit interest for these positions, so that the Board of Selectmen's response to that was to, in each case, send this notice out to departments under its own authority to see if there was interest in this. And it has worked out that way so far. So if the board first wants to continue with this practice, that's what I need to know. Second, if there's any changes, and then third, if you want me to send out the notice solely to the Board of Selectmen department heads, departments, and then come back to the board with whomever may be interested.
Any ideas?
Well, I've
The
read
process
the
works.
information. Personally, I don't see any reason to change anything.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if it's working and you're satisfied, I don't see any reason to change it myself, so.
Yeah, that's fine. So you might as well keep it status quo and.
Get out to the board heads and
Yeah.
then come on back with interested parties.
Hmm.
Thank you.
All right. The next item, this is gun control, update on the state proposal.
That's a lot here.
I know that was something that,
So I basically felt that, with all that's going on, there are local, state, and federal challenges being presented to many communities as far as lots of changing with regard to gun and ownership and background checks. And I just wanted to put this on our agenda so that we can be educated going forward. I think our conference is going to allow us an opportunity to speak with mayors and other community leaders about some of the situations that are presenting themselves. It is a serious situation, and I felt that we should just be educated as a board, and I just wanted to get that on the agenda.
okay, so it's basically a
Just-
notification of
just-
what the state's doing, I
And
noticed.
there's
and
some
also
legislation being
yeah.
passed on a state level.
What's being
obviously.
proposed.
Right. Background checks,
Yeah.
mental health.
Yeah.
It's a tremendous amount of information, but
Yeah,
a situation that I think that we at least need to be
aware of.
aware of.
Okay,
Okay,
great.
thank you.
Now, our next item. On a lighter note, we have a request from the East Longmeadow Garden Club for their annual bacon plant sale at Heritage Park Pavilion and parking lot on Saturday, May 11th, 2013. Which must mean eventually it's not going to be 3 degrees outside with a wind
Yay.
chill factor of -5. So, this is approved by the DPW, and there's recommendations from the police department regarding traffic patterns and parking and things. Is there a motion to approve the Garden Club's request for their annual bake sale?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
It's 3 pages on here.
Yeah. The wheels of government.
It's
Now
beautiful.
it's your turn, sir. We'll
Okay.
send it over to the chairman of the Board of Health.
Okay, Board of Health, new business, old business, I don't think we have anything to visit there, Nick. New business, and I'll read this is new to me. This is something that that Fred Cowell has brought forward. This is a letter dated January 17th, 2013. In the Commonwealth, it's a proposed permits and licenses change with regards to milk and, was it milk and cream? In the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, for many years, boards of health have issued separate licenses for the sale of milk and cream. This dates back to when milk and milk product sales required greater oversight for public health reasons. I was a milk inspector of the 60s and the 70s. With significant improvements in product quality and changes in the food code, we can incorporate that milk and cream license. We can incorporate the milk and cream license into the food establishment permit, retail food service. In an area survey, most boards of health have done this. Some administrative costs are realized. Dairy products are no longer subject to separate regulation or permit. I recommend this change be approved for the next permitting period. From Fred Kowal, Health Inspector. This is something that I have no expertise on, and first blush, I discussed it with Nick and Mr. Brolt. And my question is if you incorporate this into the food licensing process, how much do we lose as far as revenues go? Now that we, seeing that we have been issuing the two separate permits. If it's a few $100s a year, you look at 10 years, it's $3,000. What's the cost of administering the permitting process? So I would like to request of Mr. Kowal that he further break down the dollars and cents involved so we can make a decision. I mean, if it's a net gain, we should keep things going the way they are. If it's a net gain to change it, then we should change it. So he just didn't provide enough basis to make a decision, so.
Okay.
I'll have a meeting with him and discuss it.
Perfect. Sounds
Okay.
good. Great.
Thanks.
Now, in the correspondence, we have a notification from our Charter Cable regarding changes in format, I guess due to the, no chuckling out there, due to the,
I don't think he's chuckling.
well.
It hurts every time you turn the TV on.
It was a chuckle of
but-
disgust, I know. But, because of the popularity of high-def television, they're actually dropping six channels from the basic service and keeping them only on high def. But but the nice part, if there is a nice part, is I guess they're providing digital equipment free to customers for a specified period of time. Where am I? The offers will vary based on a customer's current level of service. Applicable standard equipment rate card pricing will apply upon expiration of those offers. I don't know, they don't say what the specified period of time is, and there is a phone number. You can probably get it off your bill, but there's also, you can call and find out what the period of time is, and also you might want to ask them what the box costs after that period of time. So-
February 19th. Analog for,
Well, that's when they're changing that's when they're changing over, but it doesn't say the specified period of time for the free digital equipment.
yeah,
So-
okay.
Yeah, so that's just a notification. Now, next, we have our very patient town council. Long time no see.
Good to see you, Chip, in a while.
Nice to see you guys.
Okay, we've got, I believe, 6 items here, and I believe, I may be wrong, but I think at least 4 of them are executive session, if not 5.
I would suggest to you that item number 24,
Although that's just a notification.
that's just a request
Yeah,
from
okay.
the administrator to Labor Council for some answers to some
Okay,
negotiation questions.
that's fine.
Article 25 would be executive session, that would be collective bargaining with union
Mhm.
employees. Item 26 would be executive session, and that is non-union contract negotiations with a number of municipal department heads or assistant department heads. Item number 27 is will be executive session to discuss pending litigation and also to discuss legal strategies and advice regarding legal issues, including energy contracts and other legal matters.
Okay. And
And 28 is not executive, it's just a request by the employee to
extension of time.
continue the hearing
Yeah.
date, which was granted.
right,
And item 29, I do not have a final answer to the board whether a proposed member of a municipal committee needs to be a citizen of the United States in order to be a member. And the only thing I have left to check is really the town bylaws.
Okay.
There's nothing I can find that prohibits, on a national level or at a state level, a non-citizen from being a member of the municipal board,
okay.
as long as there's no requirement that the member has to be a voter, which some communities do have for some of their members.
Sounds good. So I guess we are making a motion to move to executive session for purposes of union and non-union collective bargaining, potential litigation matters, and discussion on,
Legal strategies with counsel.
yeah, okay. To return only to adjourn.
Motion made.
Is there a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mr. Punderson?
Yes.
Ms. Moronsky?
Yes.
Mr. Federici, yes.